friends. This is Chris Beckman, the corporate chaplain for Ebenezer. And this is our second set of devotions. And I'll give you a title here in a little bit, but this is a part of our response to the COVID-19 virus situation we're experiencing as a way to bring spiritual care and support to our communities. Along with these devotionals, we're also going to be doing a set of worship services that you'll be able to either download or perhaps see in your communities. If you have questions, reach out to your activity director or your executive director. But welcome on this day. This second devotional is called Accepting Help. And a lot of us are having to accept help and being in a place where we're in relationships of caregiving during this time. I remember as a boy, I grew up in Watertown, which is west of here. West of the Twin Cities, out by Mound and Delano and Maconia. And my family were all farmers. And what I really remember as a kid is when it came time for baling hay. And two things really stood out. One is the food. And as a young teenage boy, you could eat whatever you wanted, and there was food everywhere. The second part was the way my grandpa, and especially his brothers, and my aunts and uncles, and cousins all pulled together at the time of baling hay. And the part that really sticks out to me is my grandpa and his brothers owned a truck together. And it was one of those old great, I think it was a Ford truck that had the rounded front and the rounded hood and the rounded cab. And they had taken the cab off and they had taken the truck bed off. And all that was there was the bed and the driver's seat and the steering wheel. And where the passenger seat was now a hay elevator. One of those things that they would back up to the barn and they would raise the elevator up. And as the hay bales were put onto the elevator, they would go up into the hay mount. And they would drive that truck, tractor, elevator, whatever you wanted to call it, from farm to farm, helping one another. I wasn't much use back then, but I had a job. I had to stand up in the hay mount right next to that elevator, and I had a big silver hook, and my job was to make sure as the bales came up all the way from those 2 stories down below, pulling the bale in and making sure it didn't fall out. It was a wonderful memory of family, but mostly as I think about it, I think about the reality of helping one another. My grandparents and people of your generation have always taught me how wonderful it is to help one another. The trouble, I think, for a lot of us is that it is easier for us to give help than for us to accept help. In fact, I would say probably a lot of us are really bad at accepting help. And maybe especially when we're in this time of COVID-19 and we're all struggling together and all of us are needing to accept help, it might be a time for us to think about how might we be better at accepting help. And that actually being able to accept help might be a really incredible gift. I found a quote from Charles Dickens, the great novelist. He said, "No one is useless in this world who lightens the burden of another." No one is useless in this world who lightens the burden of another. So maybe part of our journey, friends, is to try to figure out how can we help lighten the load of those who are caring for us, who we are caring for, who are in our environment. And it may not be so simple as needing to drive Grandpa's truck up to the bale elevator, but it's beginning to think about what if we even had gratitude, thankfulness for those who are coming to help us, gratitude for people who are driving around bringing us things, people who are coming to our space, people who are even praying for us. Perhaps we might do things that we don't normally do. Just the other day, I decided I was going to put the dishes in the dishwasher. And before that, I even had to take the dishes out of the dishwasher. And things that I tried to become more thoughtful and sincere about. And it might even be something as little as recognizing the help that we're getting, or recognizing the things that are around us. The other day I saw a piece of paper on the floor and I just thought, well, that's the maintenance guy's job. And I thought, no, that's assuming that he has all the time in the world. When I saw it and I picked it up, And it's a little bit of thing that probably means nothing in the world. But if we think about this relationship of giving help and receiving help, and the way that that relationship actually bonds us closely together, is a beautiful and powerful thing. So I'm going to leave this quote with you from Charles Dickens. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burden of another. No one is useless in this world who lightens the burden of another. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.